Lately, I've been thinking about why we do what we do and how our motivation can keep us stuck in our oil painting practice. After all, this is what I do every day. I help artists to find their style, to master their craft, and paint the way that they've always dreamt of painting. So today I want to talk about what I've realized when it comes to the relationship between motivation and the quality of our results, and how you can use this to take your practice to the next level. To illustrate what I mean, I want to give a non-art example of the connection between motivation and feeling stuck. I have a friend who has been wanting to start their own business, but they've been waiting for almost a year to do it because of all of the actual logistics involved in building a business and how overwhelming that can be. We were talking about it the other day, and I realized that this is the same phenomenon that happens to a lot of people. It just takes different forms. In fact, I find myself running into this pretty regularly. And so I asked why they wanted to start this business in the first place. Well, it came down to loving the kind of help they could offer people. They want to be a coach, and already they thrive having coaching kinds of conversations with people on a totally free basis. So wouldn't it be incredible if they could get paid for that? But when it came down to figuring out how to get the word out about their services, they felt stuck. Was it ADHD? Was it perfectionism? Lack of knowing what steps matter and which don't? They were afraid that maybe they just weren't the kind of person who could finish a project unless they had a boss who was threatening to scold them unless they got it done. And I realized this sounded really familiar. I run into these same kinds of nagging thoughts when I think about some of my art goals, and I know I've heard my students voice the exact same thing. And over the course of the conversation, it occurred to me that the things my friend actually would do on a day-to-day basis were the things they wanted to do. But everything else, the marketing and the business, were things they would like to have. After all, they would happily dive into a coaching-style conversation with a friend. They could do that for hours, and it wouldn't even feel like work. But researching how to start a business and get clients, that was a different story. And when it comes to oil painting, creating portraits that you love, or working loosely and expressively with your art, I see artists run into the same thing all of the time. There's an assumed connection between what they want to do and what they would like to have. The two often get conflated and they wind up stuck. I'll give you some examples. Artists tend to reach out for me for help because, one, they've been craving artistic community or artistic friends to share their journey with, or they want some degree of recognition, either through competitions or galleries, or respect from artists they admire, or they haven't been consistent and they think that accountability will bring them back to their joy. Or they're already painting full-time, but not making enough money, and they are desperate for a sense of stability and income. But when people reach out, the first thing they tell me is they want to get better. Do you see the disconnect? At the end of the day, improvement is a means to an end in these situations, which makes it so much harder to sit down at the easel and put in the practice. Contrast this with someone who reaches out to me who has already done the things above. And above all, they feel more gratified and fulfilled in their art practice when they're learning. My student Catherine was just like this. When she reached out to me, she wasn't stressed about income. She already had a local art community. She was already in galleries and had won awards for her work. But she realized that wasn't really driving her. What did drive her is that she had stopped progressing with her work. And that was what she had really longed for, to make gorgeous, expressive portraits. This wasn't something that would be nice for her to have, or something that she could work on when the time was right. It was something that she wanted to align her practice with right then and there. And the result is that doing the work of painting like the professional she wanted to become known as came easily once she had help, because she was motivated to do the day-to-day work of improving, because she enjoys the work of improving. This same thing applies to me, but I'm going to use a different example of how this can come up and how there can be disconnects around this. So I would like to create a portrait that would become a finalist at Portrait Society of America. I'd like to do this year, or have this happen for me this year. But when I walk into my studio, what I want to do is study, experiment, play. The paintings I want to make tend to be smaller and are focused on me chewing on a particular challenge in my painting that I'm inspired to overcome. Like understanding how an artist I love suggests all the nuance of the anatomy of the eye with a single confident brushstroke, or how a softened edge can perfectly convey a hairline. If I measured my success based on creating a big competition piece, I would be failing right now. But when I base it around whether or not I'm doing what I'm truly motivated to do, I'm thriving because this is what I do week after week in my studio. So I want to challenge you to think about your why, your motivation. Would you be pretty content painting the same way you do now this time next year, but what you really yearn for is community and connection around art? Or do you need the stability of a paycheck? Or is what you really want to study and to grow? Based on this, what can you do right now to connect yourself with that feeling? Find artist friends, or make a sale, or find someone who will talk to you about how much they admire your work. Following this is probably going to feel like the intuitive path because it's what you're already motivated to do. You're already motivated to put in that kind of work. And if you're like me and your real passion is in mastering your craft, if you're already painting, if you already have consistency, and you simply want help reaching the next level because that's what truly excites you and motivates you, this is exactly what I help painters do. Based on my experience with my own journey, as well as helping hundreds of painters like Catherine to reach their own goals, I can help you to pinpoint your goal style, chart a roadmap to developing the exact techniques you need, and give you the support necessary to make sure that you make it all the way to that goal and enjoy the process along the way. If that's what you've been looking for, follow the link in the description to talk with me one-on-one and see if we are a fit to work together. And no matter what you truly want out of your painting journey, I want you to let me know in the comments. I always like hearing from other painters, and oftentimes your questions down in the comments give me ideas for new videos. So if you're feeling stuck around something that doesn't have to do with mastering your craft, let me know, because I would love to be able to help in an upcoming video. Also, when you let me know what your why is in the comments, make sure to let me know what your plan is to get there. All right, and until you do, happy painting.